The PS2 was a marvel in its era, at least for me. The library was plentiful with titles that would consume my high school years, where I'd put over 99 hours for some games. It's my favorite, next to the Super Nintendo. As soon as I learned of the retro gem for the PS2, I got one, installed it, made a video of the installation, no longer available, and in that video, I mentioned making a USB-C mod because the only way I could use the retro gem was to externally mount it. Hi, Pedro here, and today, if you couldn't guess it, I made a USB-C mod for the PS2 supporting juice for an internal SSD. Introducing the Gamers Antiquity USB-C mod for the PS2. This little two-piece mod replaces all 12-volt power supplies for the FAT PS2, with 0 soldering skills required. It's important to note that early Japanese models with 8-volt power supplies are excluded and not supported. Now we're going to go over the check to make sure that we get the expected voltages, installation, testing, as well as supported features in this mod, the indicator LEDs, and end it off with its availability. So let's get to it. Let's begin with assembling the USB-C side by sliding in the USB-C board into its mount. Insert the included hex nuts into their holes and lock the mod in place with the screws. Next are the leads. Red goes to the right screw terminal for power, and black goes to the left screw terminal for grounds. Secure them in place, and we can get to connecting it to the second board's screw terminal. On the second screw terminal, red will go on the left for power, and black will go on the right for ground. Now we're ready to measure voltages. We're expecting 20 volts at the screw terminals from the USB-C side, and 12 volts at the test points on the second board. One solid blue light and one slow pulsing blue light means the USB-C side is happy, and our voltages are what we expect. Perfect. Now we can move on to the next stage. Next, to tear down the PS2, take out its power supply, insert the mod right in its place, and reassemble. It's that easy. Be careful with the top cover because the ribbon cable for the buttons can easily be damaged. Unfortunately, the external mount for my retro gem broke, but that's okay because I made a custom fitting to make the mount play nice with the retro gem, which I'll show later. The piece that replaces the power supply comes with a foot that snaps in place, making it level with the OEM fit. Screw in the screws for the old power supply, as we'll need them later for the gem, and in case you want to use the OEM power supply for reasons. Watch out for the ribbon cable for the front panel during reassembly so that it's where it needs to be. You don't want it in the path of a screw hole. Now that it's assembled, we need to see it in action, with my first game for the PS2, but from an SSD. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1. I played the hell out of this game and had to complete it twice because I didn't have a memory card when I first got the console and game for Christmas. I didn't know then, but no one cares about that. But what you do care for is that I can show that I can slap Raditz through an SSD.
Well, what an unexpected surprise. Yo! You fool! Kamehameha!
Now let's get the RetroGem to play nice with the USB-C mod inside. This bracket will give us the perfect fit for everything. Back inside, first we need to trim the pins flush with the mod installed. Use something to catch the metal shavings if you choose to file or sand the trim. Insert the hex nuts from the gems kit into the bracket. Then set it in place with the ribbon and SPDIF cables underneath it and slide it over the screw mounts. Now, set the buck converter in place. And secure the mount with the screws. Secure the gem with its mounting screws, being careful not to push down, accidentally knocking out the nuts. Finally, you can affix the ribbon cable, Wi-Fi antenna, and the power cables for the buck converter to then close up the PS2. Now let's use a disk drive with the mod in place to play a little Art Tenelico. We know that it works with an SSD installed, so we just gotta check off this box. If you want a series with a banging OST, Art Tenelico will keep the pop strong all throughout.
such hatred. Mir, can you hear this? We want to live peacefully with you.
Aside from being a solidless solution, the mod has a number of features courtesy of the sync controller and the buck converter. On the USB-C side, we're supporting protections against overvoltage, undervoltage, overcurrent, overtemperature, and moisture detection. Meanwhile, the buck converter is supporting its own protections against overvoltage, undervoltage, overcurrent, as well as thermal shutdown. The LEDs have 3 states to let you know what's going on when you have the juice plugged in. A solid V-bus LED and 4-second brightness changing status indicator means that everything is working just fine. However, when things aren't working as intended, the V-bus LED is completely off, with 2 states for their status indicator. A 2-second cycle flicker indicates moisture detection. Impedance, where you hooked up the USB-C port, is off and needs to be looked into. A 0.6-second flicker indicates that one of the protections against overvoltage, undervoltage, overcurrent, or overtemperature have been triggered, and the sync controller has disabled the V-bus because of it. And until those issues are resolved, the sync controller will refuse push power through the rest of the circuit. And this is all in the name to protect the PS2. And for such a little guy, it has a couple of handy features. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, cool, where do I get one? This mod is available for pre-orders on my site at renewedgamingrelics.com. Depending on part availability, I expect to be able to fulfill orders the start of the next month from when the pre-orders are placed. And should there be any issues on getting parts, there's going to be an additional expandable tab to let you know when I expect those parts to be available to then fulfill the orders. And at any point that part availability is going to impact any of your orders, I'm going to let you know right away and let you know when I expect the parts to be available to then fulfill your order. With that in mind, I hope that you're excited as I am to finally be having this mod out after a year of work. So thank you so much for your continued support. Bye bye!